innovations, and global transformations. As we grapple with the exponential pace of change, the gap widens between what's happening, what's to come, and what we can do about it. But what if I told you there's a way to bridge that gap? A way for you to not just keep up but to thrive in this complex and dynamic landscape. Imagine a total mind shift, a breakthrough that not only connects the dots between future events but also taps into our collective humanity. It's a system view that doesn't just predict the future, it builds it, one innovative solution at a time. Ready to be part of something bigger? Ready to shape the future instead of just reacting to it? It starts with our free webinar on strategic foresighting, hosted by Shui Agbida, the leadership growth enabler and learning and development specialist. Join us on Saturday, January 13, 2024, at 6 p.m. Attendance is free, but registration is compulsory. Start your 2024 on the right path. In a world that's changing faster than ever, each day brings new challenges, innovations, and global transformations. As we grapple with the exponential pace of change, the gap widens between what's happening, what's to come, and what we can do about it. But what if I told you there's a way to bridge that gap? A way for you to not just keep up but to thrive in this complex and dynamic landscape. Imagine a total mind shift, a breakthrough that not only connects the dots between future events but also taps into our collective humanity. It's a system view that doesn't just predict the future, it builds it, one innovative solution at a time. Ready to be part of something bigger? Ready to shape the future instead of just reacting to it? It starts with our free webinar on strategic foresighting, hosted by Shui Agbida, the leadership growth enabler and learning and development specialist. Join us on Saturday, January 13, 2024, at 6 p.m. Attendance is free, but registration is compulsory. Start your 2024 on the right path. In a world that's changing faster than ever, each day brings new challenges, innovations, and global transformations. As we grapple with the exponential pace of change, the gap widens between what's happening, what's to come, and what we can do about it. But what if I told you there's a way to bridge that gap? A way for you to not just keep up but to thrive in this complex and dynamic landscape. Imagine a total mind shift, a breakthrough that not only connects the dots between future events but also taps into our collective humanity. It's a system view that doesn't just predict the future, it builds it, one innovative solution at a time. Ready to be part of something bigger? Ready to shape the future instead of just reacting to it? It starts with our free webinar on strategic foresighting, hosted by Shui Agbida, the leadership growth enabler and learning and development specialist. Join us on Saturday, January 13, 2024, at 6 p.m. Attendance is free, but registration is compulsory. Start your 2024 on the right path. In a world that's changing faster than ever, each day brings new challenges, innovations, and global transformations. As we grapple with the exponential pace of change, the gap widens between what's happening, what's to come, and what we can do about it. But what if I told you there's a way to bridge that gap? A way for you to not just keep up but to thrive in this complex and dynamic landscape. Imagine a total mind shift, a breakthrough that not only connects the dots between future events but also taps into our collective humanity. It's a system view that doesn't just predict the future, it builds it, one innovative solution at a time. Ready to be part of something bigger? Ready to shape the future instead of just reacting to it? It starts with our free webinar on strategic foresighting, hosted by Shui Agbida, the leadership growth enabler and learning and development specialist. Join us on Saturday, January 13, 2024, at 6 p.m. Attendance is free, but registration is compulsory. Start your 2024 on the right path. In a world that's changing faster than ever, each day brings new challenges, innovations, and global transformations. As we grapple with the exponential pace of change, the gap widens between what's happening, what's to come, and what we can do about it. But what if I told you there's a way to bridge that gap? A way for you to not just keep up but to thrive in this complex and dynamic landscape. Imagine a total mind shift, a breakthrough that not only connects the dots between future events but also taps into our collective humanity. It's a system view that doesn't just predict the future, it builds it, one innovative solution at a time. Ready to be part of something bigger? Ready to shape the future instead of just reacting to it? It starts with our free webinar on strategic foresighting, hosted by Shui Agbida, the leadership growth enabler and learning and development.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depends on what part of the world it is that you are joining me from. You're very welcome today in case you're meeting me for the very first time. My name is Shui Agbida. I am the leadership growth enabler and the learning and development specialist. I help individuals, I help organizations to discover clarity and become the very best versions of themselves through coaching and training interventions. And this is one of the very many interventions it is that we use to achieve that goal, which is to make the world a much better place to live in one mind at a time. So you're very, very welcome. In case this is the first time you're joining this is a series of webinars that we are having. So it's a webinar series titled Strategic Foresighting, and we're looking at leadership lessons from Who Moved My Cheese. Now, Who Moved My Cheese is a book, right? It's a fantastic book. If you haven't read it, I will recommend that you read the book. It's a book by Dr. Spencer Johnson, right? It talks about 4 characters and all of that. And so we'll be reviewing that book all through. Today is day 7. So if you've missed any of the series, you can access them on our socials. We're presently streaming on 3 platforms. Excuse me. We are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and then we are on YouTube. Yeah, so we're streaming on those 3 platforms right now. We would like to know where it is that you're joining us from. So whatever platform it is that you're joining us from, just drop in the comments there. Let us know where it is that you're joining us from. If it is your first time that you're joining the sessions, let us know. If you have been a part of the sessions before, let us know how it has been for you. If you've gained any value at all from any of those, we'll really appreciate if you let us know about those. So we'll continue with our book review today, and looking at another wonderful lesson for today. This is the time where you need to pull in your friends, your family, everybody to come together. Let us learn together. Like we always say, we believe in collective learning, right? Collective wisdom. I mean, wisdom doesn't rely or lie just on one person. We can all benefit from learning together. So this is time to pull everybody in, share the links, we share to your network, and let everybody be a part of this together. Now, for the fact that we know that some people will be joining this for the first time today, may not have an idea of what the book is about, so that they are not lost out of context and all of that, I usually play a very short video. I think it's about a 3-minute video that kind of explains what the book is about, gives you the gist of the book, so that you will be able to follow through while we are making our conversations today. So I'm going to go ahead to play that video now, and then I will come back right after the video to continue our conversation. So go ahead and watch the video, and like I said, share the links if you have to invite as many people as you can to be a part of this. So ladies and gentlemen, here is the video, and I will see you right after that. Bye bye for now.
Who Moved My Cheese is about dealing with change in your work and in your life. Cheese being a metaphor for what you want in life. Everyone has their own idea what cheese means to them, and we go after it because it makes us happy. The maze in the story represents where you look for your cheese, or happiness. Your cheese is always changing, and you should not get comfortable in relying on your cheese to always be how or where you left it. In doing so will help you deal with change and bring you greater success, no matter how you define success for yourself. The 4 characters in the story represent parts of us, and it's up to you to identify which parts you are now and which you would rather be from now on. There's 2 mice who don't overthink everything and just get on with life. Sniff constantly sniffs out the change and is ready for it. Scurry goes into action immediately without needing to know all the information. Then there's 2 little people, really smart people who've done well for themselves so far. Hem, he likes to stay in a safe, familiar territory, and Haw, who's slow to adapt to change but is open-minded. Sniff and Scurry go out and seek new cheese every day. Hem and Haw comfortably rely on their past knowledge and experience and assure themselves the cheese will be right where they left it. Hem and Haw even moved their house closer to their cheese and built a social life around it. They became so comfortable they didn't even notice what was happening. Sniff and Scurry noticed the cheese was diminishing and that one day it wasn't there. But they were not surprised. They were prepared and knew what to do. The situation had changed, so they decided to change. They sniffed and scurried in search of new cheese. Hem and Haw had not been paying attention to the changes. They took it for granted and were unprepared. How could this have happened, they thought? Nobody warned them. They wanted to believe somebody moved their cheese and didn't want to believe that they had failed to notice it getting smaller and smaller every day. Hem's complicated brain and deep belief system demanded to know why this had been done to him. While Hem and Haw were busy worrying about what happened to them, Sniff and Scurry were already out finding new cheese in uncharted territory, and it didn't take long before they found new cheese and started enjoying life again. Hem and Haw remained bitter and angry about not having their old cheese, complaining how life was unfair to them. They got used to being comfortable and were now afraid to go find new cheese. They got stuck in a habit of doing the same things over and over again and wondering why things didn't get better. Eventually, Haw realized the cheese was never coming back and may have to face his fears and go find new cheese. He finally stopped blaming others and took responsibility for himself. After all, it is safer to search in the maze than remain in a cheeseless situation. As Haw enjoyed his newfound cheese, he reflected on past mistakes and realized nothing got better until he changed. He didn't like it at the time, but the change was a blessing in disguise. Hem was too stubborn, or proud, or just simply unwilling to change. Nobody knows what became of Hem. Move with the cheese.
Okay, so yep, that's what it says. Move with the cheese. So that gives you kind of gist about what the book is about. If you haven't read it, like I said, you can go read it yourself. But that hopefully gives you an idea of what it is that we're talking about. So yesterday, right, we looked at the power of enjoying change as a catalyst for growth. Not just going through it, but enjoying it, right? That's what we looked at yesterday. Today, we're going to build on that, right? So today, we're going to be looking at understanding the necessity of continuous preparation for change. The necessity of continuous preparation for change. So the lesson for today, lesson seven leadership lessons, is preparing for continuous change. Preparing for continuous change. Now, you might be asking, what is continuous preparedness? What does it mean to prepare continuously for change? So, continuous preparation is an ongoing process of staying ready and adaptable to changing circumstances. Earlier in the week, we looked at adaptability. I think that was the first lesson we looked at, adaptability, right? Now, continuous preparedness means ongoing process, right, of staying ready and adaptable to changing circumstances. Being aware that circumstances are constantly changing, and what you are doing is being ready, being adaptable. Whatever changes come around, we need to talk about that. Now, before I go ahead, this webinar series, right, are in preparation towards a webinar that we will be having pretty soon, actually, a couple of days time, on the 13th of January, Saturday the 13th of January, right? And it's called Strategic Foresighting, right? And the whole idea of strategic foresighting is to be able to, foresight into 2024 and beyond and prepare strategically for that. Now, I keep saying there's a difference between strategic preparation and operational preparation. Operational preparation talks about the day-to-day activities of yourself, of your business, of your organization, and all of that. That's operational. Strategic looks at the future to ensure that you remain consistently relevant to your customers, to your environment, to the people around you in the long run. Okay, so that's what strategic foresighting is. How do you ensure that a year from now you're still relevant? How do you ensure that your business 3 years from now, 5 years from now still remains relevant despite the environment that we live in? We're living in a VUCA world, right? But despite that, how do you ensure that you continue to remain relevant and productive in that environment? That's what strategic foresighting is all about. That's what we are doing. So all of this is just to prepare us. We are soften the ground so that by the time we come in for that webinar, we will be ready and prepared to dive into it. So this is just giving you an understanding of why that is more important for you. So talking about continuous preparation, right? You need to continuously prepare that and be adaptable to changes in your environment. And what is change evaluation? There's something called change evaluation. And what is change evaluation? This is the systematic assessment of the current state of affairs in light of the potential changes. So this is consistently assessing your environment, having in mind that there could be potential changes. Remember the story we talked about, Sniff and Scurry. They continuously observed that the cheese was reducing. Whenever they went there, they didn't just, oh my goodness, this is cheese, and jumped at it. They were observing. I think the size of this cheese is getting smaller. I think things are happening. I think someone has moved this cheese a bit today. They kept understanding that there was something going on. That is continuous evaluation that they were doing. And because they already understood that something was gradually happening to their cheese, at the end of the day, when the cheese had been moved, they didn't get stuck there. In their mind, they had prepared for it. So I'm sure they had meetings like this. At the end of the day, when they were done having the cheese and got back home, they would have had a chat, Sniff and Scurry. You know what? Let's have a chat. We noticed today that the cheese was actually reducing. What if we get back there tomorrow and the cheese is no longer there? What do you think we should do? How do you think we should go about it? They sat down and they had that conversation before. And that's the reason why as soon as that happened, they were not taken aback. They moved on, right? That's what you need to do as well. You need to strategically position yourself just in case that cheese that you're talking about today is no longer there tomorrow. What if the cheese has been disrupted in such a way? There are many disruptions going on nowadays. How are you going to remain relevant with what it is that you're doing? That is what it is that we're talking about today. So, like I said, change evaluation is the systematic assessment of the current state of affairs in light of potential changes, being aware that there are potential changes. Now, preparation is not just a one-time effort, but an ongoing commitment to success. Preparation is not something, it's not something you just do at the beginning. Yes, by next week, right, a couple of days rather, we will be looking at strategic foresighting, preparing for 2024 and beyond. But it's not just something you do on that day. It is a continuous effort. We will help you kickstart that and set you on motion to be able to continue with that. So it is something that you do as an ongoing effort. Now, being prepared for continuous change is about consistently, take the word, consistently evaluating your circumstances and making proactive adjustments. Now, Hen and Hor did not make proactive adjustments. Sniff and Scurry did. Now, eventually, Hor did. He made reactive adjustments, right? We need to be in a position to prepare ourselves continuously for change, constantly evaluating our circumstances and making proactive adjustments where necessary. It is very important for you so that you're not caught unaware in whatever situation it is that you are dealing with. Now, every day I like to give you a quote from the book. So the quote I'm looking at today is, the quicker you let go of old cheese, we had looked at this one of the days earlier, right? The quicker you let go of the old cheese, the sooner you find new cheese. The sooner, and the way of looking at that is, the sooner you accept the fact that the cheese is gone, the quicker it is for you to move on to get new cheese. Some people are stuck on it. Remember Hem and Hor, they kept complaining, why? What happened to our cheese? Who moved her cheese? Everybody's against me. Why would someone do this to me? And the same way some people are like that. Probably you're going so well and all of a sudden you lose your job and all of that. I can keep, why is the world against me? Everybody's against me. I'm sure it's my boss that hated me. She terminated my appointment because she hated me. You keep giving excuses. It's the government and all of that. You blame everybody else. But the quicker it is that you accept the old cheese and let go of the old cheese, the quicker you accept the situation, the better it is for you. Because you can't move forward while you're looking backwards. When you're complaining about your old cheese, you're still looking backwards and you can't move forward that way. So the quicker you turn around, face the direction in which you're supposed to be going to and forge ahead, the better for you. Now, a company that seems to have done this effectively over the years is IBM. IBM consistently reinvent themselves to stay at the forefront of technology. The company has evolved over time, right? Consistently looking at the environment, assessing what is going on, and reinventing themselves. Now that a major player in the tech world, despite having been there for several years. They've weathered the storm. Many of the businesses that they started together are no longer there today, but they are still there, which is very important. So their commitment to being continuously prepared to positions them for sustained success. Remember, that's what we're talking about, strategic foresighting. It's not just success today, but sustained success. When things continue to change, how do you remain relevant and successful? So just very quickly, these are not very long webinars, right? These are just very short webinars just to give us tips, daily tips, while we prepare for the main webinar. So very quickly, I'm going to talk about how to instill a mindset of perpetual readiness for change, because it is a mindset that you need to deal with. You need to have the right mindset. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is regular environmental scans. Regular environmental scans. Implement regular assessment of the external business environment. Regular assessment of what is happening. A lot of you are not aware. Now, you may feel certain things happening in different parts of the world really don't have anything to do with you. You may feel that, okay, well, maybe you're in Africa right now. You're joining me, watching this from Africa right now. And you're thinking, you know what? The war in Ukraine has nothing to do with me. Do you know that I know a lot of people joining this right now from Lagos, from Nigeria, right? Do you know that, you're seeing the dollar rise and all of that? You're seeing the price increase in petroleum products and all of that. Don't you know that's what is affecting you down there? So you may feel that it's not affecting you. Obviously, conversations are going on about increasing fuel prices right now, like in Nigeria, to 1,200 and all of that. Don't you know how that affects your business? So the quicker you know what is happening in the Ukraine, the better for you. In this year, in a couple of months, the United States are going to be having their presidential elections, right? The outcome of that is largely going to affect what you do. So these are things that are happening in the environment. You need to be aware of it and position yourself just in case. What if the election doesn't go this way and it goes this way? How does it affect you? Those are the things that we're talking about. You need to constantly scan your environment, right? Stay informed about industry trends, competitive activities, and emerging technologies. Stay informed, understand what is going, and equip yourself. Stay informed, and there's no better way to do that by constantly scanning your environment. Now, we will be doing a lot of this at the webinar, right? We're scanning a lot of our environment and doing a lot of things for you. So you need to be a part of that so that you know how this applies to whatever it is that you're doing. Like I said, as an individual, as an organization, as an entrepreneur, as a C-suite executive, whatever it is, this is important for you. So you need to register to be a part of that, and then we'll talk a bit more about that at the webinar. Number 2, agile strategic planning. I talked about this a bit yesterday, I think. Now, adopt agile strategic planning methodologies, right? Develop plans that are flexible and can be adjusted in response to changing circumstances. So when you have gone ahead to develop a plan, let that plan be flexible. Plans are made to be implemented. Some people are not flexible with their plan. So what you need to do is, instead of having a plan, this is a plan, you need to have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and then a plan D, just in case A, B, and C fail. So that's what you need to do. And that's what there's an aspect of strategic foresight called scenario planning. We'll be talking more about this at the webinar as well. Scenario planning, where you have different scenarios and you look at scenario A, scenario B. What if this happens? This is what I do. What if this happens? This is what I do. That's what you need to do to ensure you stay relevant with whatever the situation that comes your way. And then the last thing we will talk about today is skill development programs. You need to consistently upgrade and update yourself. Invest in continuous learning and skills development for yourself and your team. We are in an era where it is about your skills. How relevant are your skills to the present day? And the thing is that skills can be developed, skills can be enhanced. You need to constantly enhance the skills. There's a difference between a talent and a skill. A talent can be raw. A skill is developed. You need to learn new skills. And how do you learn new skills? Seek people that have the skills. Seek for opportunities to learn. Seek for programs. Seek for mentoring. Seek for coaching. Those are the ways you can identify. Now, identify emerging skills relevant to your industry and encourage their acquisition. Look at your industry. What are the skills that are relevant to it? Now, one skill that is relevant to whatever industry it is that you are in right now is public speaking skills. You might think, well, all I do is I sell clothes. Why do I need public speaking skills? Or I make jewelry. Why do I need public? Every industry that you are in right now, public speaking is critical to you. That's a skill you need to learn. IT skills, gone out of the days where you feel, you know what, I'm not, that tech thing is not me. You have to be tech, otherwise you'll be teched out of this world. So those are skills that you need to learn. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I don't want this webinars are not expected to be long. Should be short, just about 20 minutes thereabout, and I think we've clocked that time right now. So what I'm just going to do is, leave it here for today. Like I said, this is in preparation for a webinar that we are having in about 5 days time, 5 days time, right? On the 13th of January, we are going to be having a webinar. It's called Strategic Foresighting, a powerful and systematic approach that illuminates the path forward. So we are looking at our path to 2024 and beyond. A lot of what I've talked about, we'll dig further into that at the webinar. Now, the webinar, even though it's absolutely free, you don't need to make any payment for that, right? It's a free webinar. Let me show you that in case you haven't seen it. It's a free webinar, right? But because of the nature of the webinar, it's going to be in a closed room because it's going to be interactive. Like what's going on here is not very interactive. This is more like a one-way delivery. I'm speaking and you just have to sit down and you listen to me. Yes, I know a few people are speaking in the chat and all of that, but it's essentially one-directional. But we don't want that in this webinar because of how it's going to be. It's going to be very interactive. We're going to have a lot of group activities and all of that. So it needs to be in a closed room. And that's why you need to register for that to be able to get the joining details so that I can be a part of that. So if you would like to register for that, the QR is there. You can scan that, or you can check in the comment box, or you can just look at all our social media. Just do me a DM if you can't find it anywhere. Just do me a DM, and someone will be able to send the links to you to be able to register to be a part of that. And I guarantee you're not going to regret it because they're going to be doing a lot of wonderful things together on that day. So, ladies and gentlemen, that has been our webinar for today. We will be back again same time tomorrow, right? That'll be 7 p.m. if you're in Europe or around Europe here. If you're in West Africa, thereabout, it should be about 8 p.m. your time. If you're in South Africa, it should be about 10 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. your time. If you're in the UAE, it should be about 11 p.m. your time. If you're in the United States and Canada, it should be about 1 p.m. your time. Same time tomorrow, whatever it is, find out what time zone it is in your area and join us tomorrow where we'll be looking at another wonderful leadership lesson from the book, Who Moved My Cheese? All right, so remember, there's greatness on your inside and the world is waiting for you to birth and manifest that greatness. Go out there and be profitable, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
In a world that's changing faster than ever, each day brings new challenges, innovations, and global transformations. As we grapple with the exponential pace of change, the gap widens between what's happening, what's to come, and what we can do about it. But what if I told you there's a way to bridge that gap? A way for you to not just keep up but to thrive in this complex and dynamic landscape. Imagine a total mind shift, a breakthrough that not only connects the dots between future events but also taps into our collective humanity. It's a system view that doesn't just predict the future, it builds it, one innovative solution at a time. Ready to be part of something bigger? Ready to shape the future instead of just reacting to it? It starts with our free webinar on strategic foresighting, hosted by Shui Agbida, the leadership growth enabler and learning and development specialist. Join us on Saturday, January 13, 2024, at 6 p.m. Attendance is free, but registration is compulsory. Start your 2024 on the right path. In a world that's changing faster than ever, each day brings new challenges, innovations, and global transformations. As we grapple with the exponential pace of change, the gap widens between what's happening, what's to come, and what we can do about it. But what if I told you there's a way to bridge that gap? a way for you to not just keep up but to thrive in this complex and dynamic landscape. Imagine a total mind shift, a breakthrough that not only connects the dots between future events but also taps into our collective humanity. It's a system view that doesn't just predict the future, it builds it, one innovative solution at a time. Ready to be part of something bigger? Ready to shape the future instead of just reacting to it? It starts with our free webinar on strategic foresighting, hosted by Shui Agbida, the leadership growth enabler and learning and development specialist. Join us on Saturday, January 13, 2024, at 6 p.m. Attendance is free, but registration is compulsory. Start your 2024 on the right path.